Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and we are going to talk about this Supernova Plus Medals enhanced notice that we just got yesterday. So this is a really big announcement because what they did in this is that they took old Supernova Medals way back from even January and brought their maximum strength up. So if we look at this list here, so we have the strength before, and when you look at it, it's like really outdated. So it's like 20,000, it's even 19,000 sometimes for these medals that were super powerful when they came out. But what they kept doing as medals kept going on is that they kept increasing the maximum strength, with it pretty much accumulating to this last month, where they gave us this Kingdom Hearts 3 Roxas deal, where if you got Kingdom Hearts 3 Roxas, it would come with a maximum strength of 30,000, the highest it's ever been in the game up until that point. And when you look at the Supernova medals that came before it, pretty much all the way up until Blitzform Sora, they all had really low strength before. So Dual Wielding Roxas had 20,000, Kingdom Hearts 3 Starlight had 20,000, Supernova HD Ventus, even as a Supernova Plus medal, only had like 19,000. So those medals got outdated really fast, and it was from month to month, meaning that people that bought medals in January, they were almost useless by the time March rolled around. Or if they bought them in March, they were almost useless by the time that June rolled around. The only thing that really saved these medals was having really good traits, and that's why everyone was like, get strength plus 1,000, it's better than extra attack. Things like that, because the strength was just so important to have it as high as you possibly could, because the way this game is moving forward is that it focuses on very high multipliers and very high levels of strength. That's why it was such a big deal, because again, those medals got outdated super fast by things with higher strength, and it just hurt the game. It hurt the game because players were just like, well, this Supernova medal is essentially useless for me now. Like, people would say pull for Kingdom Hearts 3 Roxas because he had that 30,000 strength, he had a high multiplier, and then it's like, well, what happened to people that got, for example, what happened to people that got like the Youth in Black, which has a maximum strength of 23,000 back in the day? So those medals got outclassed just super fast, and people really didn't like it. They're just like, oh, I have to keep buying, I have to keep spending real money to get jewels to Mercy the Banner, I have to buy VIP because of the weird like 1 in 3 chance of getting what you want. So it just really hurt the game. It really hurt like polls. It hurt people like me giving advice, because it's like, how long is this advice going to be sustainable for? But now that they brought back these old medals and increased their strength, it changes the way we play the game, and anything that changes the way we play the game is worth noting. So for example, back in the day, I really invested into the Falling Price banner where this medal came out. I didn't know if it was going to get released again. I didn't know if I'd ever see it in a banner again. And unfortunately, it showed up pretty much after, had every single banner after it. But I poured a lot into it, and I poured a lot into getting good traits on it. And it stunk because I got this in January. By March, it was essentially useless. And I was like, what did I waste all those jewels for? It wasn't even an investment. Like, this medal is okay. And what makes it so good is that it gives plus 15 general strength, minus 15 general defense. But it had such low strength and such a low multiplier that it was almost unusable. So I'm really glad that they brought this back, because people that have either been randomly drawing into the medal and have like traits for it, or people that had a really good version that just wasn't up to par because it didn't have the right amount of strength, all of that is coming back. It's like, hey, here's your medals, they're now usable again, which is really good, because one of the complaints that I had about this game is that unlike other games like Sword Art Online Memory Defrag, Disney's Emoji Blitz, Star Ocean Anamnesis, is that those other games had resources that didn't really age. Like, for example, I pulled a character from Star Ocean Anamnesis last year that I still use to this day. That's how good the resources are in other games. They just don't expire as quickly as they did in Union Cross. In Union Cross, they expired by next month. But now that we have this, it's essentially saying, okay, we're going to level the playing field. These Supernova medals came out. You were all excited for it. You all pulled on previous ones. What we're going to do is we're going to level the playing field so that all the Supernova medals, to an extent, if you know how to use them properly, are going to be useful for you to clear content and to pass Coliseum. And now that we have more things to do, now they're popping out events where we can earn draw tickets, which are probably the best rewards we could possibly get. Now we can get jewels from events. So now that there is stuff to use medals on, and now that our old medals are now useful again, it's just a big plus for the player. Unless they keep making the events harder and harder, in that case, we're going to need some sort of other cap or some other like bump to make the old resources useful again. Unless that happens, this is just a really big plus for the player, because all those resources that were once garbage, again, going along with their big theme right now of bringing back old things and making them useful again, these are getting recycled to have a better version that you can use in clearing content. So I'm actually really excited for this. There are a few things that I do want to talk about. So the first thing is that this almost seems like an apology, you know? Like, it almost feels like Square Enix is like, you know what? We have been screwing you guys over for a long time with new medals coming out, your old medals becoming outdated. There are better games out there, or not better, but other games out there where your resources last longer. Let's do this for you. We're sorry that we kept increasing the strength cap. We want to make up for it. So big plus to Square Enix for doing this, because it brought one of the problems of this game and fixed it. And it was the kind of thing where it's like, it hurt the players, but this helps the players. So it evens out. So for people that saved for a long time, got one medal they really liked, it got outdated the next month. It was a Supernova medal that was really good back in the time. Now it's useful again, especially if you had good traits on it. It's still going to have good traits even after the strength update. So that's really good. I really like it. And it does definitely seem like an apology from Square Enix. Now, the next thing I want to bring up is that clear your quests now. If you ever got stuck on a mission, if you ever got stuck on an event, go back and do it again. Like, for example, if you hit your cap in PvE Coliseum, with the new strength cap being buffed up for all Supernova medals, odds are you can hop back in there again and get a higher rank than you were before. For events, for example, the Chasm of Challenges. So the most recent one, number 7, you have to use the Lady Luck on it, and Lady Luck for this month has a booster. So go back, if there were quests that you were holding off on because you couldn't beat them, go back and do them again. For example, the Hades Cup. So this is my main account, where we passed it pretty easily, but on my free-to-play / rage pull account, we weren't able to get past round 14. But now we are, because all those Supernova medals got stronger. So now we're able to pass that. So if you couldn't beat the Hades Cup before, give it another go. Your medals are stronger now. So go back. So the first thing was, it seemed like an apology. Number 2, go back and do those quests again, because if you got stuck, odds are you're not going to be as stuck as you were before. The next thing I want to talk about is one of the medals that they brought back, which kind of confuses me. So the medal that they brought back, that I don't know why they did it, is Final Fantasy Record Keeper Sephiroth. And now it was brought back in a way where it boosts, it boasts what I believe is the highest strength in the game, sitting at 30,196. So let's go ahead and pull up that Record Keeper Sephiroth. So it's kind of strange that they brought this back, because lately they've been like, we've got new players, you know, we passed 10 million downloads, 10 million total like players that have logged in at some point in the game. But then they bring back this medal, which was released, I believe, 5 months ago. So anyone who joined relatively recently does not have access to this medal, nor do they have access to the Record Keeper Lightning that's right underneath it. So there's really 2 ways I see this working out. So the first one is that they want to reward players who pulled into the FFRK medals. So people that were playing back in February, again, it got outclassed by like April. They're just like, oh, you know, you were playing for this campaign. Let's go ahead and give you something nice and boost those medals up. The strange thing about that thought, though, is that they didn't upgrade the frozen medals. So I don't have the medal with me, but I don't have Supernova Elsa, and I don't have Supernova Elsa and Anna, which, like the Record Keeper medals, were a limited time deal. So the fact that they brought back the Record Keeper ones and not the frozen ones makes me kind of think that they're up to something, which leads into my second thought. So the first one was that they're rewarding players that played during the FFRK campaign. The second thought is that they're gonna bring back Final Fantasy Record Keeper Lightning and Final Fantasy Record Keeper Sephiroth as a VIP coin board. So let's go ahead to our avatar boards, and one of these guys. So I don't have a picture of it, but back in the day, whoa, we still have the record keeper Sephiroth hanging out there. Let's just use, so for example, it'll look like this. So back in the day, they released FFRK Sephiroth as one of these VIP coin banners, where it essentially looked like this, except not as dinky as I make it look. But if you had 150 VIP coins, you could essentially buy the FFRK Sephiroth. So it makes me think that they're going to do it again because they didn't do it for the Frozen medals. So the Frozen medals were one of the few Supernova medals that didn't get any updates. The FFRK ones did. So I'm thinking that they're going to bring them back in the form of a VIP board. So that's my current thought on it. If they do that, I'd be super excited because clearly I've been stacking VIP coins. If it was 150 coins to get that FFRK Sephiroth, we're only 40 away. So yeah, it was really strange that they decided to boost those FFRK medals. But I think, again, those are the two reasons I could think of as to why they boosted them. The next thing that it's something I actually don't like about this notice is that people that have been pulling up until this point for the most recent medals, let's just say since I believe May, got really screwed by this. Because, so let's go ahead and open up that Roxas banner again. So the big thing about this Roxas banner is that it had that 30,000 strength. Now, the other things that Roxas has going for it are a high multiplier, the defense break, so 15% chance at defense break, and then the 15% reflected power. So let's go ahead and open up our Roxas just so we can have it on the screen. Let's put this away. So back in the day, June, really, last month, people pulled 10 times to get this Roxas because it was just the meta. Everyone was saying it's going to be the best medal because of its strength cap. So a lot of people spent 30,000. 30,000. That is, in the nicest sense, it is $200 US in order to get this Roxas, which unfortunately has not been as good lately because of that boost. So because all the other medals are now clocking at like 27,000, some of them cracked that 30,000 that Roxas was supposed to be special for, they essentially screwed those players over because they spent a lot of jewels on this medal, and again, it got outclassed. It benefits most of the players that a lot of Supernovas got boosted because, again, a lot of players don't have the ability to just pull every single time for every single new medal. But for the people that ironically spend the most in this game, they got kind of screwed over by this notice. For example, even me, I kind of got screwed over by it too, because I pulled into the Kyrie, which I still don't regret. I have zero regrets about this. Again, we pulled because it's Kyrie with a Keyblade. It is the principle why we pulled. But this Kyrie doesn't have a lot of strength to it. It has 23,000 strength, which when you compare it to all the other medals that got boosted, is like nothing almost. So we're looking at the strength after. So Illustrated Cloud is more powerful in it. Is anything less powerful than Kingdom Hearts 3 Kyrie B even after getting it maxed? Maybe Guardian Form Sora, but remember, Guardian Form Sora has like the nastiest multiplier. It has the highest multiplier in the game. Sitting at 17.79, that is not a multiplier to laugh at. So Kyrie B got screwed by this. So anyone who pulled for the newest medal within the past few months, even like Pirate Sora, which its big selling point is that it had this ridiculous amount of strength, it's like these other medals are now closer to it. So it's like, man, like if you pulled for one of these medals recently, if you wailed into it, it's almost like, ow, you know, you kind of feel it. So it's unfortunate for the people that pulled recently, but overall, I definitely think it is better for the player database to have these resources again, because like other games, you need to have your resources last a long time. Games should be challenging a person's ability to think their way through problems, and lately the climate for Kingdom Hearts Union Cross is get a better medal, get a better medal. Keep getting the newest medal because that's the best medal that's out right now. That's been the idea, and they promoted it by just making the medals literally stronger. The highest maximum strength kept increasing every single time, and then it's just like, when does it end? And I think this is where it ends. I think they finally reached this point where they're like, we need to start challenging our players intelligently and not just challenging their wallets to keep spending. So I really like this notice. Again, it brings a lot of thoughts to the table. So again, an apology, it brings this idea of complete these quests because now your medals are more powerful, and now we have quests to complete, which is really nice. Hopefully they do the difficulty a little bit differently moving forward. And it unfortunately stinks for the players that bought medals recently because, again, they're not as great as they were before, because their big selling point was the high strength stat. So I think it's great. I think it's fantastic that they're doing this, and I hope they're moving in a way where the game gets better for everyone, because lately it's been pretty lackluster up until this month. This month, they just rehauled the whole thing. Because remember, last month, about a month ago, we were complaining about how they made us buy boosters, how it was 300 or 3,000, I don't know why I worded that confusingly, 3,000 jewels in order to buy a booster that lasted till the end of June. They had boosters for the medals that came out that month. So it's like they kept doing all this stuff that was really annoying. And it made it really hard to really enjoy the game because there was no content, there was no quest to complete, but you were always getting your face slapped in PvP because even if you thought intelligently, the other person had a booster, they had the newest medal, which had the highest amount of strength. It was crazy. It was just a very bad metagame because it didn't really challenge a player's intelligence. Like, it did to a point if you can make setups, but after that, it's just like, well, who's more powerful? And it was always the person that had the newest medal. But with this is a comeback. This is a comeback for people that are able to save, that have spent their jewels wisely, focusing on very specific medals in order to enhance. So I am very, very glad they're doing this. Oh, I'm sorry. There is a 5th or 6th. I forgot which point it was. But one more point that I want to make. Everyone was super excited about Supernova plus Sephiroth becoming 30,000 strength. But everyone's got to remember that while it did increase the strength of the medal, it did not increase its tier. So its tier is still tier 8, which is 50% less than the tier 9s. So yeah, they increased its strength, but the fact that they didn't increase its tier pretty much means it hits as hard as a regular tier 9. I'm pretty sure that's how the math works out. I actually haven't done it on my own. But remember that those tier 8s stayed tier 8s. They did not become tier 9, so don't be as super hyped for them because, yes, they did get the upgrade. It's great. Again, recycling. I love it. I love the idea. It's really good they did it. But don't think that you're suddenly going to replace all your tier 9s with tier 8s. Like, it just doesn't work that way. The math does not work out that way. So remember that they stayed tier 8s. Yes, they're more useful. If you're like me and you got, like, solid traits on it, it's still going to be useful. But they didn't buff the medal otherwise. They just increased the maximum amount of strength. So for example, Sephiroth is still only increasing reverse strength by 3. It's only increasing PSM strength by 7. They didn't upgrade anything else about the medal, just the maximum strength that it hits. So those are all the main points I wanted to go over with this Supernova Plus Medals Enhanced notice. Again, it's fantastic. I love it. And I'm really thinking they are bringing back the FFRK medals as a VIP board before this month ends or by next month, because there's really no other reason they would have brought them back. So with that being said, that is my analysis. Thank you all so much for watching. If there are any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer when I have the time. But as always, everyone, until next time, take it easy.